I, 43 female, have a son, 18, who got his high school girlfriend, 18, pregnant. It was obviously an unplanned pregnancy, and it resulted in my son's girlfriend getting kicked out of her house by her mom. I never liked this girl, but I obviously couldn't let her live on the streets now that she was carrying my grandchild, so I allowed her to live in our house. Now both she and my son have quit college for the near future, and my son is now working a full-time job so he can provide for them in the future. The problem is that his girlfriend refuses to do anything, but absolutely anything, all day. She just locks herself up in my son's room, eating snacks and watching videos on my son's computer. I need to drag her out to just help me with cooking and clean the room she's staying in, but she's always complaining about how I'm working her like a slave, even though she's already in constant pain because of her pregnancy. And then she'll come crying to my son about my treatment of her. Mind you, she doesn't have a high-risk pregnancy. I know this because me and my husband are fully paying for her medical controls, and I don't put her up to do tasks like cleaning the toilet or anything similar. However, she really crossed the line when, after I got dressed up, she asked me where I was going, and when I told her that I was getting ready for church, her exact response was, "I didn't know there were churches that were allowing people looking like strip-tease dancers in." At that point, I absolutely had it with her, and I told her straight that I didn't care who she was, I wouldn't allow her to disrespect me while living in my house. And if she couldn't keep her attitude in check, then she can get the heck out of my home. She pretty much started crying at that point and immediately called my son, who later on also gave me attitude for treating his girlfriend like garbage when I didn't know what she was going through. Eye roll. My husband also thinks that while she was definitely out of line with that, she was probably only acting out because of pregnancy hormones and that I could have handled the situation better without straight up threatening to leave her homeless. Am I the idiot for telling my son's pregnant girlfriend she can get out of my house? Edit, she's been living with us for 3 months already, and since then she's been catching even more of an attitude towards me. I can barely drag her out to cut some carrots or vacuum the room she's staying in. There's no way she can maintain a job with an attitude like that. Your son said you don't know what she's going through. Does this idiot realize where he came from? He's really not the sharpest tool in the shed. Not the idiot, she's an ungrateful, entitled brat. No hormones cause this rudeness and lack of consideration. You're paying for her everything. She's not being mistreated. Pregnancies do not cause unenabling pain, and she could at least do the bed. Turn off the internet, please. Don't let her just sit in there on TikTok all day. Turn off the internet during the day or just change the password. You need to start putting your foot down or you're going to be stuck in this for the next decade. She needs a wake-up call, and so does your son. If you don't set the record straight, she'll try to pawn the baby off on you. You think she's lazy now? You will end up raising your grandbaby. Everyone's the idiot here. Not that the girlfriend was right about what she said, she wasn't at all, but reading the post, it reads like the reaction is more about punishing their son and girlfriend for having the baby than her behavior. At this point, the baby is on its way. Girlfriend and son need to grow up, absolutely, and she shouldn't have said what she did, but she's going through quite a bit, including being abandoned by her parents, and some genuine compassion would go a long way. OP seems very concerned with being disrespected, yet seems unkind towards her son's girlfriend. I disagree. Here's a reason why her mother kicked her out, OP. There's also a reason for a pregnancy at age 18. Mom was probably going to make her get a job, and hey, we can't have that. So she fixed that problem of working by getting pregnant. Once she has this baby and it's time for her to get a job, guess what will happen? There will be a second. Whoops, surprise pregnancy. Your son's girlfriend does not want to do anything, and she will go to extremes to live her lazy lifestyle. Plus, when the baby gets here, guess who will do most of the childcare? Good luck. I'm a 22-year-old guy and my brother Max is 18. My brother got really sick as a kid, so my parents are super overprotective of him, and no, he's not mentally or physically disabled. Max still lives at home and my parents still treat him like a kid. Midnight curfew, no having people over without a week's notice, and they even have rules against the amount of junk food he can eat, which he sneaks around anyway, even if he buys it himself. This is all under the justification of our house, our rules. The worst is that they refuse to leave him alone at the house overnight. They don't go on vacations anymore because Max won't take time off work to go with them. They always pick the most boring places. I wouldn't want to go either, and they refuse to leave him home alone for a few days even though he's a grown man. Anyway, recently my parents cracked up and booked a week-long trip to Dubec, Iowa. See what I mean about boring places? They tried to guilt Max into going with them, but he had important stuff going on at his job, so he said no. Then they asked me to stay at the house while they were gone, and after talking to Max about it, I agreed to appease them. However, Max and I secretly decided that I'd stop over once a day to check on him, but that mostly I'd leave him alone because, for goodness sake, he's an adult who can look after himself. We also planned for me to stay over the last night to make it look like I'd been there the whole time. Anyway, my parents came home a day early and threw a fit when they found Max home alone, eating ice cream, which they've banned him from having. They called me to scream at me for leaving him alone and letting him break their rules, and I shouted back that he's an adult and they're smothering helicopter parents. Now Max is grounded. Everything they've tried to do is either theft or false imprisonment, and he's pushed back and mostly won, and he's looking for ways to move out ASAP. My parents are giving him and me so much grief, and honestly, I'm starting to regret not just staying over like I said I would. Am I the idiot? I don't really see how you could justify someone having a job and needing a babysitter. That's insane. You are not the idiot, you just sound like a good brother. Why can't he be alone? Does he have seizures or something? His huge crime was eating ice cream? Is he lactose intolerant? Do not appease them ever again. Also, your brother should get the heck out if he has money saved up and a job. No, my parents just think sugar is the devil or something. My brother doesn't have any kind of medical conditions that would make it dangerous for him to be alone. He does get migraines, but he has meds for that. My parents think he'll do drugs or burn the house down or something if they're not around to supervise. It's ridiculous. They were never like that with me. He can vote, get drafted, make a baby, drive, and work full-time. He has no physical or medical disabilities. Boy, he's going to move out and never contact them again. Mom and Dad have to address cutting the cord. And honestly, a vacation to Iowa? Your parents need some serious help for that alone. I don't know why you go along with such a ridiculous crap show in the first place. It's just enabling your parents' bizarre and unhealthy behavior. It seems like it's time to either A, sit down with them and try and show them how they're infantilizing your brother and dragging you into it, or B, go little or no contact. Not your circus, not your monkeys. My husband and I have only one child, our son Gorham, a teen. We love him to death and spoil him lots, but we're also trying to shape him into a humble and appreciative person. Thankfully, we've never had any issues. He's quiet and well-mannered. He volunteers and is well-liked among his peers. My sister has 5 kids ranging from 18 to 8. Recently, we were all attending my mother's birthday party. My mother was asking my son about how his sports are going and his studies. He's doing cross-country right now to prepare for lacrosse in the spring, and he recently started at the high school building at his academy. He was very excited and shared with his grandmother how much he liked the school. One of my sister's boys started whining about how it's unfair that Gorham gets to go to private school and wear nicer clothes. 2 of her other kids started agreeing and whining. They complained that they wanted to play sports too. My sister can't afford to buy equipment and doesn't have time to take them to events. I felt bad for them and stayed quiet, letting them vent. It's unfair to them that my sister had more kids than she can reasonably provide for. They're always scraping by because feeding and clothing so many kids is expensive. But my sister had the audacity to lecture me about how I shouldn't let Gorham talk about things that his cousins don't have. Talking about being excited for school and sports is a normal thing for a teenage boy. It's not like he was talking about how much his shoes cost or something idiotic. Also, his grandmother was asking him questions. He was mostly replying to her questions. I stood up for us, but my sister and I weren't talking. My parents took my side and thought she was taking her issues out on me, but our brother thought I should just let it go and apologize. Since when were sports considered spoiling your kids? Sure, kids enjoy them, and they can be a luxury for most families, but it's also a thing that all families provide for their children if they have the means to. Not the idiot. Your son wasn't even bragging, just talking about his life. Yeah, sucks for the cousins. He's more fortunate, but that's how life works sometimes. Don't let her guilt trip you over her failings as a parent. To be brutally honest, she shouldn't have had kids, or so many kids, if she couldn't provide them with basic opportunities like sports. She probably feels insecure that she can't provide them with things she should be able to provide and is taking it out on you. There's always the nuclear option, depending on how much you want to see your sister in the future, of saying that maybe she should close her legs instead of asking you to close your wallet. Also, has she asked the school if there's a way to get help with equipment? The bottom line is she doesn't want to put the effort into it. She doesn't even want to drive them. Next time the kids whine, tell them there are avenues, but their mom just doesn't want to. Put it back on her. What's it going to be next? Oh, Gorham, don't wear those nice shirts and shoes, and only wear the clothing I can afford for my kids because I popped out too many. Oh, Gorham, why don't you go to my kids' school instead because you're making them feel bad? Oh, Gorham, how dare you achieve all these things with your parents' support and funding and go to a good university while my kids can't because I can't afford it? You have to draw the line somewhere. If you let this go, it can all go downhill with one push. Set boundaries and make the kids realize blaming Gorham for their financial situation is not okay. A friend, Sam, is 4 months pregnant with her second child and celebrating her 33rd birthday. We all went to a nice restaurant to celebrate her birthday. She orders a bottle of red wine for the table and she starts drinking. When the waiter is pouring her glass, she basically has it up to 3/4 of the glass. We're looking at Sam like, come on, that's a lot. And then one of her friends is like, Sam, you aren't going to drink all of that, right? Sam is like, relax. You can have 1 or 2 glasses. Red wine is filled with antioxidants. My gynecologist told me that you should have 0 alcohol, but I was thinking, okay, 1 glass of wine can't be too bad. After dinner, we ended up going to a cocktail bar. When we were there, I tell Sam, look, they have all these great mocktails. She looks at the menu and then orders a Long Island iced tea. And another one of her friends tells Sam to come on, it's not good for the baby. She then snaps at us, telling us that enough men are trying to control women's bodies that she doesn't need us telling her what to do. After that, it got really quiet and we all backed off. Sam ended up drinking a couple more drinks after that. She ordered birthday shots and then got a frozen Slurpee-type drink. Sam got decently intoxicated and we got her an Uber home. After the party, Sam posted pictures of the dinner and at the cocktail bar, and in some of the photos she looked intoxicated. A lot of our mutual friends are saying that we're all guilty for not stopping Sam. Most of the blame is on her, but people have been saying we're bad friends for letting her hurt the baby like that. I don't know what to do. Sam is a good friend of mine, but she's a grown woman. Am I supposed to tell her what she can and can't do when she's pregnant? What has made the situation bad is that Sam now told people we were encouraging her to do birthday shots, etc., when we were all cringing when she was drinking. At this point, Sam's family all see us as bad friends. Not the idiot, but personally I'd be cool with burning a friendship down to the ground over this. Getting intoxicated is for adults, not for fetuses building neural pathways. She's a grown woman and this isn't her first rodeo regarding pregnancy. If she doesn't have it in her to care, then nothing you said or did was going to change that. Yeah, were you all supposed to restrain her physically? What did they want you to do? So she's a hypocrite as well as irresponsible and dishonest. This is all on her, not you guys. Everyone said what they should have. Why the heck did you then proceed to go to another bar with her? I'd have given her a piece of my mind and I'd tell her baby daddy. They deserve to know that their child is being endangered. She sounds like an alcoholic and you lot aren't helping. You poured gasoline on a lit fire. Everyone's the idiot here. Whoever decided the next stop should be a cocktail bar is an idiot too. My parents regret what they named my brother and me. Not sure when it happened exactly, but in the last couple of years, they attempted to use our middle names instead of our first names, which we stopped. My older brother is Ashton George and I'm Caden Philip, so my parents tried to call us George and Philip or Phil. My brother told them never to call him George, and I told them I hate the name Philip and I didn't want to use it or have people know my middle name. My brother left for college last year, and at the time, I knew they were talking to him about something, but I had no idea what. Now I do. My parents approached me Saturday about the upcoming school year and the fact it's my last year of high school, and said they wanted to change my name to Philip legally and to give me a new middle name that would be more professional and adult sounding. I asked them what made them think I wanted that, given that I'd already told them not to call me that. They said they tried to appeal to my brother before he left for college, but he refused to entertain the idea, so they wanted to start earlier with me. They said they have huge regrets about our names, especially mine, as it's so trendy and unprofessional sounding. I told them I like my name and to let it go because I am Caden, whether they like the fact or not. My grandparents, Dad's parents, were invited over to interfere in this as well. They never liked our names and are absolutely on board with the, he needs an old damn name to get somewhere in life. I was told to think about my future and how it will look when I try to find a job with the name Caden, or how much easier I will find it to be taken seriously with a classic or old-fashioned name like Philip, over something trendy and bad like Caden. I learned that my parents couldn't legally change my name at this age without my express consent, which is why they're pushing this so hard. Upon hearing this, I told them that I wouldn't discuss it with them anymore and I refused to change my name. My parents and my grandparents all think I'm being unreasonable, and they say I should listen to their reasoning more and really think about it. I feel like this is so dumb. I talked to my brother and he said he still gets a comment here and there about his name. He lets it roll off his back. Am I the idiot? This is so ludicrous. Literally half of the teenage boys I know are named Caden or something very similar. By the time you're actually looking for a job, it will be basically impossible for any company not to hire at least 5 Cadens. The idea that such a hugely popular name will still seem notably unprofessional in the future falls apart completely if you think about it for even a second. And a few years ago, I hired an Ashton and an Ashton in the same week. No one cares about this. You're not the idiot. My suspicion? This is the grandparents putting pressure, likely financial. No name change equals no inheritance. Tell them you'll only change it if you choose. I would suggest Botsworth or Algeron, or another very old-fashioned name. If they refuse, you can tell them they are respectable names from the Victorian era.